player than we've seen.
No.
Hi there.
Hey, Breaker, how you doing, buddy?
Not too bad. How about you guys over at NASL?
Fantastic, my friend. I'm not getting your cam on this side.
It's all right. Just use that little photo I showed you earlier. Looks awesome.
I do that.
So
before we get too big into it, I gotta find your picture. There it is. BreAKersc2. There he is. Looking like a boss.
He's a handsome user.
All right. So Breaker, since some of our people watching who might not be so familiar with Chinese or Taiwanese esports may not know who you are, why don't you give us a little bit of an intro first?
All right, guys. For those of you who haven't been watching my stream, I'm that guy who's casting from his garage because, of course, there's nowhere in the house to actually put the real desktop PC. I'm the guy who just wants to represent China and Taiwan in StarCraft 2 to the Western world. My university major was Chinese. I first started learning for my ex-girlfriend, and the rest is history. So, yeah.
Well, at least she left you with something.
Yep. Knowledge.
Too soon. Okay, so Breaker, I want to first talk about Hero, Shigua, Huck, and Top. Obviously we want to get your take on the Chinese side of this. What are your opinions on this group?
Right. 2 Zergs, 2 Protoss, correct?
Yes.
This morning I was talking to Top on Skype, and I asked him, what's your outlook for the round of 32 and so on and so forth? What do you want? And then he says, as long as I'm not in a group with 4 Protosses, then we're okay. And I guess you could say he's got what he wants. As for Shigua, honestly, I mean, he hasn't produced too much in the way of results outside of WCS. He did manage to qualify for Premier League, 2-3 times last year?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, he went to IEM Singapore, and he actually qualified for that tournament through the online qualifiers. But he was beaten by Yoi Flashwolf San, but San he's a completely different machine. He's sick. I think it's not really fair to compare a foreigner to a Korean in any instance. And then he lost 2-0 versus StarTale's Curious. So, I don't know. But versus this group, it could go basically any way, I'm thinking. Especially versus Top, someone that he's had more experience versus. And he's also got some of the world's best practice partners, Jim and Max said, in terms of ZVP.
Yeah, that's great Protoss guys to work with.
But I think the big question is, looking at the 3 players, Huck, Shigua, and Top, who really comes out of the 3 of them? Because we're kind of putting the 4th, who's Biol? No, not
Hero.
Biol. Hero.
Yeah,
Hero like
the
ahead.
guy that you're going to probably assume makes it out of the group.
But out of the 3, Shigua, Huck, and Top, they're the ones I think everybody's thinking are a lot more equal. And we're looking for a way to discriminate the Chinese scene or the Taiwanese scene from Huck. Who's better, who's worse, etc.
Flip a coin on Top or Huck. That's what I'm going to say. Shigua, I mean, tough luck, Chum. I'll be rooting for you, but at the same time, I can't really say,
Wow, that surprises me so much because Shigua's play is what left an impression on me in Challenger. And
well, you could also say at the top level, how are you dying to 2 Dark Templar builds?
That's totally fair. Absolutely 100% totally fair, and Huck likes his DTs.
He does. He does.
All right. So, Breaker, before we lose you, let's talk a little bit also about Tude Ming's group. I'll get my graphics guys to bring up that graphic. It's going to be Hart, Masa, Scarlet, and Tude Ming, right?
Tude Ming.
Tude
Ming.
Ming.
Right yesterday. But I mean, like,
boom.
If you want, you can just read it Tude Ming. That's what everyone sees at home anyway. Didn't have a chance to talk to him this morning. He was asleep when I woke up. But overall, he's had some fantastic performance domestically. Well, I mean, for the year of 2013, he produced his first ever first prize win with the Neo TV Star League 2013. Although this time around, it was an entirely online event. He actually managed to beat Jim 3-1, who is, come on, he's someone to be afraid of. He took 2 games off of Jaedong in last year's Premier League, right? Season 2.
You even affected Breaker's mentality of Jim, by the way, with your Jim hype.
Dude, Jim is amazing. Don't start this crap. Breaker knows just how good Jim is. He's been casting him all over the place. Breaker's probably been roommates with Jim at some point.
Nah. But I will say, like, I don't mean to bash you guys, but I knew that Jim and Max said loved Phoenix Colossi before they made it to Premier League.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. You were casting the Chinese scene, so.
Yeah.
All right, man. So in Tude Ming's group, who do you have coming out?
Tude Ming, let me see here. Maza, Scarlet, Heart. Oh my god, I remember. Jeez. Tude Ming has some very fantastic ZVZ, and I mean, it's not recorded on TLPD. You'll see that, but I mean, he took a series between Shigua and himself to the final game before he had to forfeit for personal reasons. I couldn't say why, but Hart versus Tudoming, that would definitely be a game to watch. Hart's beaten Jim and Tudoming's beaten Jim. Masa, this guy, I've not heard of him until Challenger League. And Scarlet, I mean, honestly, I think if it comes down to Scarlet versus Tudming, it could actually go in favor of Scarlet, just because she's that much more experienced.
Yeah.
Much more hardcore play, things like that. And I mean, Maza, I gotta wish him good luck and have fun with this, but I mean, I really think he's not so favored in comparison to the other 3 players.
All right, man. Well, BreAKer, I really appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight into the Chinese and the Taiwanese scene. You also said you wanted to comment on Shigua's group, Hero Shigua Huck Top. Oh, no, wait, that's not what you said.
No.
You said you would Max Head Puck Select Sin. So, really quickly, thoughts on Max Head Puck Select Sin before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get to that. Basically, Sen and Max Head have kind of had, I guess you could say, a friendly rivalry. I haven't seen any open dissing on each of these 2 players, but traditionally speaking, until the ECL Beijing, which happened at the beginning of this month, Max Head was basically beating Sen. He beat Sen in 3 previous best of 3s or best of 5s, 2 of which I had witnessed. But that's all I've got on that. So, I mean, if Sen and Max Head actually have to face up against each other, I'm going to lean a little bit towards Max Head, although Sen did manage to beat him the last time he faced off against him.
And
right,
I also have backstory about that, but when we were at the Premier League last season, Sen and I actually sat down, and all we did was, for about like an hour, looked at all of Max Head's replays and talked about it. And I know he's taking it very seriously whenever he's up against Max Head. And now that same narrative is shown here. Sen, like, he respects him like crazy. He thinks he's super powerful, but he wants to win.
Fantastic. All right. Well, BreAKer, one time, real quick, why don't you talk to us about where you can follow you and all your coverage of Taiwanese and Chinese esports?
For now, I'm just going to say twitter.com/BreAKersc2 or @BreAKersc2, twitch.tv/BreAKersc2, facebook.com/BreAKersc2. I'm going to be doing my best to get in on my first offline event this upcoming summer in Taiwan. It will have an English stream available, and it'll be worth WCS points.
Fantastic. BreAKer, thank you so much for joining us for a short little call, for sharing your knowledge on the Chinese and Taiwanese esports scene, and look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Thanks, Ben. You're awesome.
You too, buddy.